Britain wakes up to smoke. Not metaphorical smoke, real black choking clouds rising over Belfast's skyline. 37 hotels burned, 100,000 people in the streets, and a government that still insists everything is under control. 8:15 p.m, November 10th, 2025. The night Northern Ireland stopped listening and started shouting. The footage plays across every channel, BBC, Sky, ITV, but no anchor sounds prepared. They use words like unrest, disturbance, incident, but what's happening isn't an incident, it's an eruption. Outside Belfast City Hall, chants merge into thunder. Where's the money gone? They roar behind riot shields, police faces blur in the rain, bottles crash, sirens howl. For 3 nights, the Union Jack has waved, not from flagpoles, but from flames. It began quietly, like all British crises do, with a leak. A file stamped confidential internal procurement. Sent anonymously to The Guardian at 2:14 p.m, a spreadsheet of government contracts, numbers, names, payments. It showed that 37 migrant hotels across Northern Ireland were not just shelters, they were profit machines. £11.4 million in emergency accommodation contracts, companies linked to party donors, ministers' cousins on payrolls, compassion outsourced to corporations. By 4 p.m, hashtag hotel leaks trends across social media. Within an hour, the story breaks on BBC Newsnight. Within 2, the streets break too. Protesters pour into Belfast High Street, carrying banners scrawled with one question: who built this Britain? At first, it's peaceful. Then the first fire starts. The King's Arms Hotel, a 3-storey building on Royal Avenue housing 220 asylum seekers. Flames climb faster than the firefighters can. Videos flood, TikTok, Reels, Telegram. A woman's voice shouts, "They said we couldn't afford schools, but look at this." That clip hits 5 million views in 5 hours. By midnight, it's not just a protest. It's a reckoning. In Derry, Lisburn, Ballymena, hotel windows shatter one by one. The Police Service of Northern Ireland declares a state of major emergency. Westminster calls it contained disorder, but the numbers say otherwise. 100,000 protesters, 37 hotels destroyed, 1,200 arrests, 82 injuries, 14 officers hospitalised. Economists warn of £90 million in damages overnight. Insurance firms suspend coverage. Logistics routes choke. Britain's Internal Stability Index, something most citizens never knew existed, drops to its lowest level since the 2011 riots. At 9:42 p.m, Sky News obtains a leaked recording from inside the Home Office. A senior advisor can be heard saying, "We can't stop this now." The anger's older than the fire. They weren't wrong. Across the nation, frustration has been fermenting for years. Rising rents, collapsing hospitals, ministers flying private while nurses take food banks. The asylum hotel contracts are just the spark that lit the gas leak. The fire, in truth, began long before the match. In Westminster, the corridors buzz with denial. The Home Secretary appears outside Downing Street, hair damp, voice rehearsed. "We condemn the violence," she says, "but this is not who we are." Yet in Belfast, people shout back through screens, "This is exactly who you made us." By 10 p.m, major networks cut to live feeds. Helicopters circle like vultures. Police lines splinter. The smell of smoke and pepper spray bleeds through the airwaves. Reporters describe it as Britain's night of broken glass. The phrase trends globally within minutes. At 10:27 p.m, the first shots ring out at rubber bullets, but the fear is real. Paramedics rush a teenager with a head wound into a van. His name is Callum Joyce, 17, part-time barista, full-time citizen. Moments before he's hit, he's heard saying on live stream, "We're not burning hotels, we're burning lies." That video now has 12 million views. In London, the Prime Minister meets with senior intelligence chiefs. Inside that meeting, later leaked to The Times, MI5 briefs that extremist online groups are hijacking protest channels, feeding chaos. Information warfare meets street rage, the report reads. The Prime Minister asks, can we shut them down? An aide replies, not without shutting down democracy. The room falls silent at 11:03 p.m. Belfast time. The electricity grid flickers, fire spreads from one district to another. Drone footage shows roads glowing like veins of lava. Reporters in helmets broadcast from rooftops as distant sirens echo like air raid alarms. On Twitter, one line goes viral. This isn't Northern Ireland 1972. It's Britain 2025. By midnight, chaos turns political. Opposition MPs call for an emergency session. One Labour backbencher tweets, "You can't outsource empathy. This is what happens when you try." The Chancellor's office issues a statement at 12:17 a.m. promising full transparency, code for damage control. But outside, transparency has already arrived in the form of burning glass and public rage. 1 a.m. Derry. A crowd gathers outside the remains of the Harbourview Hotel. A man named Thomas Boyd, 62, unemployed, former dock worker, speaks to a BBC microphone. They told us we couldn't house our own veterans, he says, but they can house 200 strangers for £200 a night. That's not compassion.
Synagogues
That's
across
corruption.
the country, and we will do
His
everything
words
to keep our Jewish
live
community
on
safe.
BBC
I've spoken
One.
to Mark Gardner
The next
of the
morning, government
CST.
advisers label him a populist agitator. Viewers call him the only one telling the truth. By dawn, the flames reveal their cost. 37 hotels gone. Over 10,000 asylum seekers displaced again, this time by the country, meant to protect them. The death toll. Officially 3, unofficially unknown. Local residents sweep ashes from their driveways as news helicopters hover overhead. At 7:42 a.m, the Prime Minister addresses the nation. The backdrop is clean, polished and utterly tone-deaf. Violence has no place in our society, he says. We must come together. No apology, no admission, just the usual tranquilizers dressed as leadership. When a journalist asks if he'll suspend the hotel contracts, he blinks twice and says now is not the time for politics. Within minutes, the speech is shredded online. #1 in the UK. Commenters flood social feeds with a single line, if not now, when? 11 a.m, The Guardian releases the second part of the leak. Internal emails showing that senior ministers were